All right, everyone, welcome back to Garage Built Podcast. I, of course, am Ethan. I am joined today by, honestly, one of the coolest coworkers I've ever had, a total bro, and one of my best buds of all time, Dylan Carter. Dylan, I am so stoked you are on today with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
To kind of give some backstory for how I know you and how we got to know each other, we worked at the same firearms company for... what year did you start?
23.
Okay, so I started 2022. So it was 2 years, pretty much, that we were there together. Some wild stuff, obviously, and probably continuing to be wild stuff. We don't need to get into that. But Dylan, from the get-go, I could tell was just going to be one of the boys. He was super fun, smart guy. But one of the coolest things about you is that you have started a successful photography company. Which is pretty niche. We're going to get into, what differentiates you from others and why I think you are one of the coolest ones out there. But what were you doing before you came to the firearms company, before you started your photography business? What were you up to before that?
So my wife says that I'm kind of the jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Like I've done it all. I worked everything from in the tech industry to carpentry to woodworking to leather work. Like I've done
chicken.
Done everything under the sun.
No, I'm just kidding.
Don't even. I love cooking, and I accidentally mixed up when I was making chicken for my family. I accidentally mixed up powdered sugar and flour. And
they do the same thing.
They do. Both of them bread it, and it's fine. It's sweet chicken. It was not great.
I'm sorry. I had to say something, but
no, that's fair. So right before this, I was a supervisor at Best Buy.
Yep.
I was primarily over the home theater department, and then I grew a lot of success there. They moved me over to computers, and pretty soon I was on my track to be the assistant store manager.
Right.
And then from there, if I kept going there, I would get my own store eventually.
And you kind of got poached by someone who we don't need to name, but you kind of got poached by them because of your photography, right?
Yes. Yeah. So, this person came in and was like, "Hey, you wouldn't by chance happen to know anybody that does photography?" And I was like,
"Of course I know him. He's me."
Yeah.
It
was very strange. I was like, "Am I being punked right now?"
Yep.
But yeah, I just said, I do photography professionally on the side, and I would love to help out. And then that's basically how that journey ended, and I got pulled over to the company where I moved to.
Where you currently are at. Yeah. And that's where we met you. So the photography, where did that start? Because I'm imagining, it didn't start while you were at Best Buy. It started probably long before that. How did that begin?
So it originally started as me wanting an easy A in high school. I was in my senior year trying to fill my electives. I had done all the videography classes, and I was a video nerd. Like I was in the school announcements. I was the anchor. Like it was a time.
Sounds very familiar to someone I know very well.
Yeah. So, I wanted an easy A, and I signed up for this class because the teacher was brand new to the school.
Cool.
And I was like, all right. I didn't really like the last teacher. Let me try this new one. And she was phenomenal. Like, she taught me some really, really cool concepts that were beginner at the time, but I realized were kind of advanced techniques.
Right.
And this was a photography 101 course.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, if this is what you're teaching me in 101, what more is there to learn? So that easy A I accomplished, got an A. And then I served an LDS mission in Washington, D.C., and I bought a camera out there.
Nice.
Which probably wasn't the best decision.
No, it's part of the fun.
Yeah.
You're in D.C.
So I brought my camera along and started taking pictures and learning how to film, and got some very, very cool stuff that I still cherish today.
Wild. So you're a gearhead. We know that.
Yeah.
You love your gear.
Unfortunately.
And obviously the gear costs some money.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I wanted, one of the biggest reasons, besides just that Dylan's Dylan and I love Dylan, that I wanted you on today is back in the time when we were coworkers, and you were kind of doing, you still are doing photography on the side. Mm-hmm. On the side's kind of an understatement, I would think, because the way that you focus on it and the way you do it, you were throwing some numbers at me that kind of blew my mind. That was like, you're doing this part-time, this is how much you're making. Like, this is awesome. And I kind of want to get into what it takes to do that. But with the photography side of things, obviously you've been successful, doing marketing, helping run Best Buy, pretty much a whole store. You're pretty much helping run it, different departments. What was the moment where the photography business became real for you?
So the moment where it became real was initially when I first started. My high school best friend growing up, we were in the same video classes together. We worked on some side video projects together, and it was super fun. He asked me to film his wedding.
Whoa.
And I was like, wow, you don't want to hire a professional?
Someone
and
who
he's
knows what
like,
they're doing?
well, that's what we are. I'm like, I guess you're right now. So I remember I was trying to draft up a contract, first contract I ever wrote, by the way. And I was trying to quote everything out, anticipating all of the different type of work that would go into this. And I realized, I was like, this is going to be like an outrageous number.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm going to get paid what I think I deserve, this is going to be so high. It was $600.
So high for a photographer, for everyone out there. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. At the time I was like, $600? Like, there's no way I can make that much money. So I told him, I was like, look, man, like, you're my best friend. I'm going to cut you a deal. I would probably charge on average like $800, which is probably what it actually would have been at the time. And I was like, look, I really don't think I can do a full 8-10 hour day for less than like $625, $650. And he was like, oh, that just so happens to be our exact budget. So yeah, let's do it. And I was like, I just made $600.
Yes.
So, and it blew my mind.
Right.
And I was like, if this person says $600, says yes to that, what's going to stop the next person from saying that?
Right.
So I undersold myself for like probably close to a year.
Okay.
And I just was like slinging out weddings left and right. And
because they're getting a deal of a lifetime.
Yeah, they're like, oh, this person's going to charge us $3,000 for it, and you're going to charge $600. Absolutely.
For some perspective, I think for our photographer, we didn't do like a first look or anything. Okay. But she did one shoot with us on our, like, we had one photographer do our engagement photos, and then a different photographer come just on the wedding day, do all the pictures in one go, and then go home. And it was $800.
Yeah.
So they did get a good deal.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we figured out all the details, and he just handed me cash the day of. And from that, like, holding that amount of money in my hand was unheard of.
You're like, whoa.
I was, let's see, that was 2019 when I first actually started.
Right.
So that was 7 years ago, and I was like, I'm rolling in it.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna
$600
eating
dude.
like kings.
Yep.
Which we did, but yeah, it was at that moment where I was like, oh, I can actually make something out of this, and I can scale it.
Yeah.
Because I knew that wasn't my cap, but I knew that, okay, if I can get my best friend to say some outrageous number, I can probably get a higher profile client to say a higher number too.
Exactly. And I mean, that's kind of the natural progression of an entrepreneur, is to find out that they've undersold themselves, and that they could charge way more to the right person, and that person's still going to say yes. Yeah. Because they're perceived, and this is something I want to get into specifically with you, which I'm so glad you mentioned everything you mentioned. It's the perceived value of what they're receiving that's the real key, and you've obviously learned that. So in those early days, you're making what you think at the time is fantastic money, and it is. For someone in their early 20s, has no idea what they're doing.
And for just a weekend job.
For a little weekend job, you're balling. You're having the best time in the world. So where did the transition happen for you, where you were like, all right, I've done these little things, these little weekend things, I'm going to start seeking out higher profile? When did that happen?
So it was when I was in school.
Okay.
Briefly. Hot take. Briefly is the great way to say that. Hot take. I think college is stupid for the vast majority of people.
You know, you're guest number 2, and you're the second guest, so 2 for 2, that have said that. So you're all good. You're in good company.
Yeah, I mean, it really, when you look at the data, they estimate anywhere between 52 and 70% of people go underemployed, not unemployed, after college. Underemployed means that they're not in their respective fields, or they're not making the average salary which they should for their field. Why am I going to dedicate 4 to 6 years of my life instead of building a business?
Tens of thousands of dollars in debt.
Tens of thousands of dollars. So what happened was I was in school for entrepreneurship. Had an amazing teacher, Corbin Church. absolutely incredible.
At UVU, right?
It was at BYU.
Or BYU.
Yep, I was at
Okay,
BYU.
yeah.
Phenomenal teacher. And I was probably a year away from graduating. There was this rumor that went around that saying they were going to cancel the entrepreneurship program. And I was like, I'm a year away from graduating. This is stupid. So I started seeking out alternatives. I called the photography department and said, hey, how many of my credits can I transfer over? How long is this going to take me to do? And they were like, look, we're going to be honest with you. If you have a portfolio, your degree's useless. A professor told me that. And I was like, thank you for saving me years and tens of thousands of dollars. Yep. I'm going to go do that.
Yep.
So I dropped out.
Okay.
And it was strongly against someone very close to me, their wishes.
Right.
And that's part of actually what helped me feel motivated to
Absolutely.
continue. Because
you get a chip on your shoulder. Yeah. You're like, I've got to beat what you think I can do. Yeah.
So that happened, and I dropped out, and this person was like, I'm sorry, but unless you graduate, you're not going to build anything for yourself. And I was like, watch me.
Bet.
So, and that really was what it is. Like, you could, and my wife does the same thing. She's like, hey, will you help me clean up the living room? Yeah, sure, all right. Versus, I bet you can't get this living room clean in 5 minutes.
Watch me.
You'll watch me.
Yep.
I'll do it.
Yep.
And that's what happened. So, I'm that type of person where if you challenge me, you can't do this. You better buckle up.
Yeah, exactly.
So, it transitioned to, I dropped out of college, and I realized, okay, I have a lot more free time.
Yes.
I'm really going to start pouring resources and effort into it.
Yeah.
So I took some courses.
But outside education, not college education.
Correct, yeah.
You're talking like private online.
Yep.
I'm guessing, knowing you, I know the answer to this question, but probably a lot of YouTube, probably a lot of, gurus that like know what they're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah.
Huge advocate of YouTube University.
Yeah.
Like Elon Musk said that you could be a brain surgeon just from learning from YouTube. I don't know if I advocate for that, but I don't know if I trust somebody that does
maybe
that.
some practice that needs to be done. But yeah.
But yeah, I realized, I was like, every resource that college could ever teach me is online.
Right.
So I really buckled down and realized my niche is this, and I'm going to really start developing the marketing around this.
Yep.
I had to develop my sales personality, and that's really where it came from.
Yeah.
Where I was forced to either make sales or continue. At the time, I was working at a gas station.
Right.
Continue working at the gas station.
Yeah.
I'd rather make sales.
Yeah.
So I was forced to learn and adapt and figure out what my sales personality looked like.
Right.
Trial and error, like figuring out, okay, this is my elevator pitch.
Yep.
They're not receiving it very well.
Yep.
Which happens. So
it does.
And that's how you grow.
I love that. So obviously in that growth stage, every entrepreneur, all of us, experience something that nearly breaks it, where you're kind of like, you doubt yourself. You're like, crap, is this actually going to work? Where was that moment for you?
It was, at the time I was doing full-time real estate photography for another person. I was their only employee, and I was only doing real estate. It was like probably 3 to 4 houses a day, but I was driving all over Utah, like a minimum of 125 miles a day.
Jeez. Yeah.
And I would drive that. I wasn't being reimbursed for mileage.
But you're doing it anyway because
it was photography, and it was a good gig. And I got to the end of, I had been doing it for probably 10 months, and I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Right.
And then I realized I was sacrificing my favorite types of shoots, which were like family portraits, weddings, commercial gigs, corporate, that kind of stuff. I was sacrificing that to do my general real estate stuff that was really fun. I really do enjoy doing real estate. And
you're really good at it.
Thank you. Yeah.
But the 125 miles a day kind of makes it not worth it.
It came out to like, after deductions and all the expenses, it came out to like $13 an hour. So
not quite what you want as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, absolutely. So I had an honest conversation with my boss at the time, and he was like, "Yeah, well, you agreed to do it for that rate." So I was like, "Cool, I'm gonna start looking elsewhere."
Yep.
But at the same time, I was realizing my expenses are skyrocketing.
Right.
Like, I can't keep up with this. I can't afford to feed my family with all this. And I realized I really would be making a lot more money if I had just been focusing on my side business. Yeah. So I had this complete mental breakdown one day. Me and my wife had been married for 4 or 5 months. Okay. So super, super fresh.
Very early on.
And she saw me just absolutely lose it. Like, I had My gear was on the ground. I was ready to pack it up and donate it. Like,
Whoa.
I was
Yeah.
like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And she like got down on my level and was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Why can't you do it? Oh, because
Yeah.
people aren't hiring me. Why aren't people hiring you? Because I'm working this stupid job.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've identified the problem.
Right.
Now let's figure out how we can fix it. So
Yeah.
it was, all right, let's create an exit plan. Let's start applying elsewhere that gives you a little bit more flexibility. So, yeah, it was a very, very heartwarming moment where she was like, no, you have something.
Yeah.
And you really need to put effort into it because you're good at it too.
Yeah.
People want to hire you, but you have to say no because you have to go shoot houses.
Yep.
So, yeah, that was the moment where I was like, it's either the make or break moment, and
Right.
she was the person that helps everything cascade.
Which, a couple things on that. First of all, it's so good to have someone in your corner that you can trust, but also has your best interests in mind, which I think so many great entrepreneurs have that, whether it's a partner, especially a wife or a husband, that's their backup team, which is so good. But also, one thing that I know a lot of entrepreneurs go through, and clearly you did, is the moment where you're doing the wrong thing the right way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what the right thing is, and you know how to do it the right way, but you keep doing the wrong thing the right way.
Yep.
And so you're making some money. Like, it's not a negative. It's not a net negative at the very minimum, but it's not the highest positive that it can be.
Yeah.
And so you kind of came to the conclusion, and correct me if I'm wrong here, that you know what the right thing is. All you need to do is get rid of the wrong, shift that to the right, and just do that the right way, which obviously you know how to do.
Yeah.
Which is like the pitfall that every entrepreneur falls into, is doing something wrong the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super
Yeah.
interesting.
It was very much like I had the practices. I knew what it was going to look like.
Yeah.
It was just the method,
Yeah.
the vehicle that transported me from this is where I'm at right now,
Yep.
this is where I want to be, and here's all the little details and left turns, right turns, roundabouts that you have to go through.
Exactly.
And every entrepreneur goes through that journey.
Absolutely. Which moves us right along to another thing just something that I'm thinking about, especially with your case. You do multiple types of shoots, obviously. Like we talked about, you did and you continue to do occasionally, I'm guessing, some real estate photography.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's not out of the portfolio.
No.
But what you love is weddings, family photos, and commercial shoots.
Yep.
And then portraits and stuff like that kind of mixed in, I'm sure. Kind of part of each of those. What do people that don't know what you do think it takes to do what you do? And what's the reality of it? What do you actually do?
People think it takes gear.
Yeah.
If you have the gear, you'll be successful.
Which is part of it.
It
gotta have
100%
good
is
gear.
popular.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
absolutely is part of it. But I started with a Canon T3 that my mom got for Christmas.
Great.
And it was like, it didn't have a swivel screen. It was stuck fixed right there. It barely
not
even had a
easy to
recording
use.
function. Like, and that was the bones of where I started. And then I went to Sony, unfortunately, and then went back to Canon. So they blessed me there. But yeah, I realized I was like, I'm a gearhead, you know me.
Absolutely,
And
I
that
do.
applies to every facet of my
All
life.
of our dumb hobbies.
Yes.
Dylan and I both have dumb hobbies.
Yeah, and I'm
they're
very
expensive.
much that type.
Yep.
And like I'm a nerd.
Yeah.
Like I play Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering. I'm a gearhead. Like I
you're
want
a
all of the
gearhead.
stuff.
Yep.
But it does come down to, can you use that gear to the absolute max of its
Right.
potential?
Yep.
And if you can't, are you willing to put in the hours and the work to learn to get to that point?
Exactly.
So for example, looking at the next camera that I want to get.
Yes.
I already know I'm gonna max it out. Like I already know that every single feature I'm gonna use it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, is that the next step for me? But
Or
the
do you
next
even
step is
go
like an extra
crazier?
$2,000.
Yeah.
So I'm like, anyways, so the gear definitely matters. People think it takes gear to be good.
Right.
That's true to a point.
Yeah.
If your work ethic is there and if you have the personality,
Yeah.
people are gonna hire you just to work with you.
Yes.
Like, and the same is true for almost any facet, any
Right.
industry. So, for example, when I was at Best Buy, I told people I might be transferring stores, and I had customers say, "Okay, we'll just come to your store. Like wherever you're at, we'll just come buy from
Right.
you."
Yeah. They don't care. The travel doesn't
All right,
mean anything.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a wake up call where I was like, if you have a good personality and people want to be around you, they're gonna hire you. It
It's
doesn't
gonna work.
matter.
Yeah.
And one of the most prevalent times that this happened, I had a family session.
Okay.
This grandma hired me for this big extended family shoot. Grandma pulls me aside after, and she's like, I just want to let you know, there were other photographers that were better than you that we were looking at, but your personality was just so wonderful. And I was like, backhanded compliment?
Like, cool,
thanks?
but also, wait, what?
Like, so yeah, it was things like that where I would have lost out on that money and on that shoot, and
but
on
because
that
you're
experience.
you,
Correct,
you
yeah.
win it. Cool.
So that's what it comes down to. I'm a huge fan. Like, I'm a people person.
Yeah.
I love being around people. I love creating connections.
Yeah.
Communicating with people, getting to know people. That's
Yeah.
so fun. So breaking down that barrier and
Yep.
being like, yeah, this is a transaction, but it's also a relationship
Yeah.
I'm starting.
Yeah.
So like I have families that I did their engagement shoot and then I did their newborn shoot.
Yeah.
Like, I grew with them as we
Yeah.
went from engagements, bridals, wedding day,
Yes.
family shoot of just them two, maternity,
Yep.
newborns, and now they have a family.
You're
and
getting
I've grown with them.
rehired because they've looked at you as an extension
Yeah.
that does a task that they need accomplished.
Yep.
They're like, hey, we like this guy. He's awesome. He takes care of us. Your personality has won them and bought you business forever,
Yeah.
which is so cool.
Yep. So that's the falsehood, is people
Yeah.
think it takes gear to make it. No, it takes personality and it takes heart.
Yeah.
If you've got the personality that people want to be around,
Yes.
they're gonna be around you.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I think that's so poignant to the pitfall that, I mean, specifically photographers, but a lot of other people fall into, that it just takes the gear. Now, that's part of it with anything you do, but it also takes the effort, the dedication, and like you said, the personality to match, which is so good.
Well, it's also important to make sure that when people say that gear matters, like when we say it does matter to a point, that doesn't mean that you go out and you get the most expensive gear, because it is part of the solution. No, you get what's going to get you by.
Exactly.
Like, I have what gets me by and then a little bit more.
Yeah.
But it took me 7 years to grow to that point.
Yeah.
Just get what you need right now.
Yeah.
The rest will come.
Yeah.
Because you'll be able to look at a $3,000 lens and be like, it's a little pricey, but yeah, I'm going to use it.
So with that being said, let's paint a picture of someone who is just starting out.
Okay.
And they've got the gear that they need, let's say that step's taken out of it. They know they're interested. They have the gear. What's your number one tip for someone who's at day one, who's you in 2019 figuring this out? What's your one piece of advice to that person?
Imposter syndrome is real. You have to stop looking at what everybody else is doing and figure out what you do. What I mean by that is, my favorite photographer is Peter McKinnon.
Love him.
Fantastic guy, great personality. His photos are just banging.
King of photography on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely.
The king, undisputed.
But I was like, I want my work to look like his. And to a point, I could probably make my work look like his.
Sure.
But it's not. That's not my personality. That's not the tone that I want my photos to have. But it took probably a year and a half to figure that out. So imposter syndrome is, and I still find myself doing it. Like,
we all do.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got like around 500 followers on Instagram right now. So nothing.
Yeah.
Like comparatively, that's really not anything.
Right.
But I look at photographers that I deem I'm on equal footing with.
Sure.
You've got 8,000 followers.
Yeah.
Why do you have 8,000 followers? Why do I not?
Yeah.
What am I doing wrong?
Yep.
What are you doing right?
Yep.
What do I need to change?
Right.
That's imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
You need to stop. Get out of your head. Like, and it's so hard because you want to, especially in this industry, but it can be applied to any industry. You want to follow along. You want to network. You want to be involved in the group that's in the industry. So I follow photographers.
Yeah.
I comment and engage with photographers.
Yep.
I try to follow and make sure I'm keeping up with their lives and their photos and their posts. And I realize that if that's all that you're seeing and you're surrounded by that, it's very, very easy to be like,
to think you're not up to snuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I did a photo retreat 2 or 3 years ago, and one of the girls I did a retreat with, she was already a very talented photographer. But she just got back from Italy doing an elopement. And I was like, oh my gosh. They went to Italy.
Yeah.
And I was like, you got to be kidding me. Like,
it's probably one of those, I've heard these stories before where they get flown out to like Lake Como and
yes, it
are
was
like
Lake
on the
Como.
water.
Yep.
Gosh, dang it, dude.
Yep.
Why is...
And they went to like all the places where they filmed The Phantom Menace. And I was like, what? Why? I mean, I'm more Lord of the Rings, but still, I'm like,
Still.
can we go to New Zealand?
Pretty
Like,
freaking cool. Yeah.
So, yeah, it was moments like that where I'm like, I was in the same class as you. I did the photo retreat with you. What did you learn that I didn't? And my number one tip for anybody, do not think like that. And it's so hard. I know it's so hard, but you really got to focus on you, because it does come down to, if you're not making the sale, why are you not making the sale? Not why is this person getting the sale? That doesn't matter. It's why are you not making it? So that's what I would focus on.
Yeah.
Is figuring out where is the path that you want to grow into.
Right.
And you might set, for me, like Peter McKinnon's the pinnacle.
Yep.
I might want to grow closer to that level.
Right.
I don't really want to be that famous or that out there.
Sure.
But I do want to have a solid following, and I do want to make photos that people look at and they're like, wow,
They're like,
that's incredible.
whoa. Yeah.
What are the steps you need to take to get to that point?
Yeah.
Does that look like, okay, I might need to hire a photography coach, which I don't endorse. I hired a photography coach, waste of my money. But
that was like last year, right? Wasn't it?
yeah,
A little bit last year.
I dropped bands.
Yeah.
Like, dropped $4,000.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm not even going to get into that.
Yeah.
I will if you want me to, but I'm not going to get into it. So you got to figure out what you want to do.
Yep.
Like, imposter syndrome is real. That's my number one tip. Do not feed into it. You have to focus on you. Focus on the good stuff that you're creating and how that's going to help you grow.
I love that.
Sorry, I'm a talker.
No,
I
you're
just
a talker,
realized
and
that I
that's
just took that off.
100% what I want, because your story, the way you are as a person, tells that in such a good way, where, I mean, everybody watching, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're starting a business, the imposter syndrome will come. It's not a if.
Yep.
In my opinion, it will.
Yeah.
When is that coming? How often are you getting it? Maybe is even a better way to put it. But what it comes down to, fight through it. Don't believe in it. It's your brain making up nonsense.
Yep.
100%, and just keep going. Like Camden, who I interviewed last week, make sure and go watch that video too.
Guy,
Real estate agent.
Fantastic guy.
He's 4 years younger than us.
Yeah.
And he is constantly dealing with, supposedly, people that are doubting him. And I mean, these real estate agents that have been in the industry for 25 years, longer than he's been alive.
Yeah.
And he's coming in and dethroning them.
Yeah.
Which, great, by the way.
Yeah.
But it's kind of same for all entrepreneurs. You're going to come across people that you perceive are doing better than you for some reason, but you feel like you're on the same level.
Yep, absolutely.
You can't trust that.
Yeah.
Because it's not true,
Yep.
first of all, but also it's so not about them.
Yeah.
It's about you. And you've got to think, all right, what am I doing? What am I doing to get to the next step? Exactly like you're saying. So I think that was fantastic. We're going to round to home base here. Your garage. So this is Garage Theme Podcast, obviously, right? We're not in a garage right now. Eventually we will be, and that's our goal. But what did your garage look like when you first started the business?
So I had a whiteboard that
Nice.
had a calendar, and on that calendar it was post a story this day, post a reel this day,
Yep.
shoot this day, edit the next day.
Yeah.
Every bit of every day was planned out.
Yeah.
And it was goals of, I want to hit 200 followers on Instagram by the end of the month.
Okay.
And then I want to move to 350 by the end of the year.
Yep.
I think that that's good for some people to get started. I don't feel like it's a very healthy mindset for a lot of people.
Okay.
Because when I look at my plans now, when I look at my calendar,
Yeah.
I
What does your
see-
garage look like now? Is probably an even better question.
Look, I'll focus on the prior, and I'll get into that. So prior, that's how it was. I had a laptop, didn't have a desktop, didn't have a full computer, just a little MacBook Air that I went into debt to get.
Oh, yep. The classic.
Yeah. That's
All
the
of
true
us, yeah.
entrepreneurship
It
story, though,
really
isn't it?
is,
Like,
dude.
you've got to go into a little
Just
bit
a
of
little
debt.
bit of debt.
So I was editing with Lightroom, and I was delivering galleries the next day because I was like, I gotta really stand out from the crowd. In part, that's true, but and I had, my gear was just my camera backpack. Like I had the most basic backpack. I had my camera, a kit lens with another art lens, and then like some accessories that I never broke out of the package, but I was like, I'm gonna use this all the time.
Yep.
So Yeah, the garage was nothing. Like my garage was portable. It all went in my backpack, and it would come with me anywhere. That grew into, now I have like a workhorse machine. It's actually called the workhorse. A computer that I built.
Yeah.
I've got 2 monitors side by side. I've got a Carter Captures neon sign.
So cool.
And I turn that on when I'm editing.
Yeah.
Because it's cool just to be like, all right, I'm in my editing mode. I'm in my entrepreneurship method, my mindset. And now I've got like a queue that's 4, 5, 6 shoots long to get through an edit and return back to clients.
Yeah.
So, and I'm editing every night now.
Yeah.
Every single night.
God,
like I put my son down, and
it's edit time.
Yeah, it's edit time.
Yeah.
From like, I put him down usually around 9. We're trying to move that bedtime up. But I usually put him down around 9, and I edit until like midnight, which isn't a ton of time.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that's what you got to do right now.
Yeah.
I've got a full-time job, and I've got this other stuff that I'm doing.
Yep.
I've got a IKEA cork board, like the peg boards, that has all my gear with shelves on it.
Nice.
And I love coming home and unloading my backpack and setting it all up.
So
and being
cool.
like, this is what I'm doing.
A little, very Peter McKinnon.
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
Peter McKinnon.
Yep. I've already thought, like, when I buy a house, I'm gonna have a gear cage.
Oh yeah,
so excited.
You got it. You got to have a gear cage.
And yeah, that's now my office. That's now my garage.
That's
it's
cool.
like I've got everything. Everything has its place. I have everything that I need. Yeah, I want that $3,000 lens, but I don't really need it.
Yeah.
And that's what it goes back to, is like, you don't need the gear.
Yeah.
Use what you have. Become really good at what you have.
Yeah.
And then look at expanding.
I love it. Now let's shift that question to, what does the garage look like going forward? What's your 5-year garage look like? Because I mean, we've had a ton of conversations in the past about what you would do if this was the full time.
Yep.
And correct me if I'm wrong here. If I'm way off base, just tell me. But if you could do this full time and do nothing else, or just what you wanted to do as a side project, and this was number 1, would that be the case?
No.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Actually, no, because I enjoy making my hobby and letting it stay still a hobby.
Right.
I feel like everyone wants to make their business a full-time thing.
Absolutely.
And that wants to be their grind. That's awesome.
Yeah,
like,
good for them.
Good for them.
Is what you're saying.
But I'm a social person. I need to work in an office.
Yeah.
I need to like have friends that I can communicate with every day and just laugh and joke all day long about. And maybe that answers more the latter part of your question, where I could do photography full-time and have like a side part-time office job.
Sure.
That would still accomplish it for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a social networking guy. Like, I got to be in social groups.
Yep.
But the garage moving forward would look like, I have a studio.
Nice.
And I've already thought of exactly how I do it. Like, every studio usually either has one single studio, or they have 5, 6, 7 bays.
Yeah.
That are different themed. I took your family portraits a couple years ago.
Yep.
And they had different themes.
Yes.
And you could go into, be like, okay, this one's more dark and moody. This one's light and airy. So I would have a studio that has different bays.
Yeah.
I'd have probably twice a week. I can open it up to just a general content night. Free. Anyone can just show up, bring your models, bring just yourself to come photograph other people, and just create a hub that people can come and learn and ask questions. One of my favorite local photographers, his name is Tyler Stallings. He does mini workshops.
Cool.
And I went to a mini workshop of his at a studio that had tons of bays.
Right.
And that's now my favorite studio.
Cool.
But he basically was like, yeah, I do this for free. Like, I don't charge these. I want people to be able to learn because it's a cool industry. And I'm like, that's exactly where I want to be.
Cool.
And that's where it would grow into. I have my gear at the studio. I have everything work related in the walls of that studio, so I can come home and I can be with my family and be present. But I also have a hub that I can bring people to and help them learn. And I'm an open book.
Yeah.
Like, you could ask me about my revenue numbers and I'd be totally open. So I feel like it's a niche industry, but we're in Utah and everyone's a photographer.
Yep.
So it's kind of hard to make it.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, I'm a huge fan of many hands lift all of the ships.
Cool.
Many hands make light work.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Yeah, I like it.
That's very, very cool. Well, I am so stoked that we were able to get you on today. Dylan's taking his lunch break from his office job to come hang out with us today, and I'm so glad you did.
Thanks for having me on. I'm stoked.
Before we end here, we've got two things.
Okay.
Number one, I want you to look dead into this camera and give us your 1-minute commercial of Carter Captures, what you do, who you are, right there.
Okay. Hi guys, my name is Dylan Carter. I run Carter Captures. We are a photography and media company. We do branding shoots, we do weddings, we do just about everything because I refuse to do what the world says and pick a niche. I'm kind of rebellious like that. So whatever type of photography you need, I probably have it under my belt. I'm a huge fan of being budget friendly because I think people overcharge for a lot of their work, and I'm a huge fan of creating relationships and networking. If this sounds like something that you would want to grow into, whether it be your already established business that you've had for 50 years or you're just getting up off the ground, give me a call.
Could not have said it better myself, which is why I made you do it. I love it. Awesome. Now, the surprise question.
Okay.
We always end the podcast with this.
Yep.
Once again, it's a garage-themed podcast. Eventually, behind us, my garage is going to look a little different. Your dream car. You make it big. Okay? You can give me multiple. Camden gave me a couple.
Okay.
Other people have given me one or two. Give me your dream car that if you've made it, that's what you're whipping around.
So, kind of a hot take. I'm not really into cars a whole lot.
Yes.
So my idea of a dream car is probably someone's daily driver.
That's good.
I really, really like Teslas.
Yeah.
And I really, really like the Model S,
Okay.
which granted they're getting rid of. They're expanding into,
Yep.
They have like a Model YL that's coming out. The way that I look at it is I also like it from the standpoint of saving money. So it kind of answers your question where if you see me driving, it's like, all right, I have enough
He's made
confidence in myself to be able to make the payment.
Yep.
But it would probably be like a model, probably whatever the new Model S is going to be,
Okay.
the sedan. I keep telling myself I need the SUV model. I'm like, kids are never in my car anyway, so why don't I get something that's a little speedster?
Okay.
Either that or an absolutely modded, tricked out Toyota Tacoma.
I was literally about to say, if Dylan doesn't say a just beefed out crazy off-road Tacoma, then I don't know Dylan as well as I thought, but you did. So we're all good.
The Tacoma is like the tried and true absolute warrior.
Yeah.
And that is my current argument, is between a Tesla and a Toyota.
Yeah.
Like, which team am I going with?
Yep.
And it's like, okay, do I want to be smart and speedy, or do I want to be a man and get a truck?
Yes.
So,
well, I love it. Well, that's so good. Thank you so much for coming on today. Where can people find you?
So Instagram is carter.captures, and my Facebook is just Carter Captures. There is another person out there that is Carter Capture. That's not me. It's Carter Captures.
We will make sure and link all of your stuff below as well, so you can find it easy access.
But yeah.
Do you have a website?
Yeah, it's cartercaptures.studio.
Okay, fantastic. All that will be linked below. I can personally endorse Dylan because Dylan took our newborn pictures for our 1-year-old literally more than a year ago.
Yeah.
Hard to believe that it's been that long. She's like twice the size of what she was. But I can fully endorse Dylan as a photographer for anything. I mean, I've seen you do real estate photography. I've seen you do commercial shoots. Kind of the GOAT. Just throwing that out there. So
Thank you.
Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I'm stoked. And I think what you're building here is super, super cool. And I think it's cool to bring different mindsets and different types of people to the masses and help them figure out, oh wait, I remember being in that position, or hey, I'm in that position, how do I grow?
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. That's what entrepreneurship is.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. And obviously Dylan will be tagged in all of the stuff that we post about this. But please go take a look at what he does. I guarantee you he's going to treat you right and treat you fairly and also give you some crazy good stuff. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching today's episode of Garage Built. If you're listening on audio, consider showing up on YouTube. You can actually see our pretty faces. If you want to stick to audio and you're watching this in the car, please stick to audio.
My wife always said that I have a face for radio. So I'm like, oh, all right.
A face for radio. Terrible. Listen to us on audio, I guess. But like and subscribe or follow along on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, wherever you can find us. We're also live on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts now. So,
There you go.
Guys, Dylan is such a good example of the right way to do things. And I know that Dylan's going to keep doing such great things, and he's going to go crazy places that we're not expecting. And that's just who Dylan is. So I'm super excited that I got to talk to him a little bit about that. Like I told you guys at the beginning, he's a good friend. He's been a great coworker and someone that I really look up to and genuinely trust to take my family pictures forever. So Dylan's locked in, but there's a couple things that I want to pull out from my conversation with Dylan that we as entrepreneurs can focus on to help build our businesses, kind of taking some of the great things that he does and applying them to us. And the first one he mentioned a bunch of times is that gear is a factor, but it's not the absolute key. It's more about your effort and your desires and what you can do. So he kind of dove deep on this one, which I really loved, that with the gear that you have, max it out, which he said that a couple times. Like he mentioned that he wants to buy a new camera, but he knows that he would max out that camera's capabilities already because he knows how to use them. And I think that's so key that, I mean, even me at the beginning of doing what I do, you kind of can max out your gear. I mean, to be completely honest with you, right now, I'm still rocking an iPhone. This is being filmed on an iPhone, right? I used to record with just a USB mic that plugged into my laptop. We've upgraded there, but now I'm maxing out the capability of the gear that I have. That's the key. Like, you don't necessarily need to upgrade that first. What you need to upgrade is your skill first, and then you can move on to the gear. As I mean, he said he said it funny in a funny way, but he said rising tides raise all ships, and I think that's an important factor with gear too, is that your skill level, as you raise that skill level, your gear can get up to match it, and if your skill level passes what your gear can handle, maybe that's the right time to upgrade. So, for any of you that are out starting a business that requires gear, which should be most of you, if it's not, some of you. Max out what you have, get as good as you possibly can be with that, get your skills higher in other areas and in the areas of that gear, and then raise your gear to match it. So I think that's really, really cool. It's a great just wake up call for a lot of us that maybe it's not as much about the gear as we think it is. So super, super cool there. Another one kind of building off of that I think Dylan does extraordinarily well is finding your sales personality. As entrepreneurs, all of us have to do some sort of sales, whether that's, if you're a high ticket coach, you're booking clients, right? You kind of have to find your sales personality. Eventually, maybe you can hire a sales team that can do that for you and you can focus on your coaching. But at the beginning, for all of us, and it requires some sort of sales skill. And developing your sales personality is it's a very, very important thing to do. What that really means for each individual is a little bit different. There's obviously tactics, there's frameworks, there's phrasing that we can all use to get better at the sales part of everything that we do. But that's not entirely all of it. It's also coming down to who we are as a salesperson, what message we're communicating, what decisions we're helping the person to make. And, eventually a lot of entrepreneurs pass that off. Some of them get married to that and really love that and just stick with it. And that's great too. But developing your sales personality is key. And one thing I love about Dylan is he's such an easy person to get along with anyway, that as he's selling, that part of him is not changing, but he is very straightforward with the pricing. He's very straightforward with, hey, if you don't want to work with me, that's totally cool. No worries at all. I'll still be your best friend no matter what. But this is kind of what I do. This is the quality you can expect from me. And that's how it's going to be. And he shows that to the clients he's working with. And he mentioned something that I think is super important, that he has gotten customers at the beginning of their relationships. I mean, he's a wedding photographer and a corporate photographer. So he gets a business that's small, a couple that's just taking their engagement photos. Then years later, he's taken their newborn photos of their second and third kids. Like, these people are growing, and Dylan is their consistent relationship that they maintain. And I mentioned this too, that Dylan honestly is someone that can complete a task that they trust, that has just fit himself into the right spot and has grown with these people. And as entrepreneurs, I think that that's a cool thing for us to look at as well within each of our businesses. Like, we get in on the ground floor with somebody, or if we can, maybe it's even the 10th floor. This is a 100-floor building, right? We get in early, and we can stick with that person for a longer amount of time, and that person will trust us to keep coming back. I think that's a huge factor in upselling, which all of us, we know. We want to upsell our clients. We want them to buy more from us. They've already trusted us to do one thing. We want them to do that again and again. That's entirely a possibility. It's not just a possibility. I almost view it as a requirement. Like, we got to upsell these people, and that's just huge. And that sales personality relationship building that you can develop is a massive, massive part of that. Now, to round us out here, get us all the way back, the right person will pay you more to get your value. I mentioned that we were going to mention this again, and then we didn't talk about it for the conversation with Dylan, but I'm going to talk about it right now. The right person will pay you more for your value than what the people are paying you that pay you cheap. That's a weird, long-winded way of saying it, and I do apologize, but to break that down, you can charge certain types of people certain amounts. Like Dylan at the beginning was charging what he thought was massive, right? $600 for a wedding, a whole weekend. And he's like, this is crazy. Like, I'm making this much money for this amount of work. Like, this is bonkers. And at the time it is, right? At the time it was bonkers for him. It's bonkers for anybody to be able to go do that. However, as you kind of scale, and I'm glad he used that word specifically, scale, there's a little bit of a way where, there's a time for each entrepreneur and a way that you start thinking that gets you in the mode of, hey, wait a minute. I charged this person this much, and they were like, oh, let's do it right now. Let's go. And you can honestly think at that point, like, okay, wait a minute. This might be too good of a deal. Like, this person's chomping at the bit for it. Not that you should think that way. You should always be looking to make deals. But at a certain point, you need to kind of niche down and narrow down who you're working with, because you got to corner your section of the market, A, but you also need to make money, B, and C, it's just the right way to do things. It's just how everything works. It's the beautiful part of capitalism, is that the right person will pay you the right amount for the value that they are receiving. And it's all about this perceived value. So for Dylan now, as he's doing higher end weddings, corporate shoots, he's still helping all these people. He's giving them a good deal, but his prices are not $600 for a weekend anymore, right? He has packages built out that have a perceived value attached to each of them. And with the people he's talking to, he can make deals, he can make adjustments, he can make calls, he can definitely partner up with other people, and he does. But what it comes down to is he realized that the clients that he could attract would pay him a certain amount for doing a certain amount of work, a certain amount of value, providing that value to them. Each of us needs to think about this in everything that we do as entrepreneurs. Everything we do is selling, right? And that value that we provide needs to match the price that we're charging. And that can be a perceived value, that can be an actual value if it's a physical product, whatever it is, right? But we can charge a little bit more, and the right person will pay it. The key is providing the value that makes it worth it. So whatever your offer is, whether that's, like I said before, like maybe it's a high ticket coaching, maybe it's photography like Dylan, maybe it's a supplement, right? Whatever it is, it literally does not matter. the right person will pay you a higher amount for that value. And this comes from some of the gurus at acquisition.com. Alex Hormozy's whole thing is one of the tips that they give people nearly always is raise your prices. And they joke about it. They laugh about it. They're like, raise your prices. And everybody's like, well, like, but I'm not going to. And they're like, no. It doesn't matter. Raise your prices. Where they really want you to land and where kind of the optimal sweet spot, Goldilocks zone, whatever you want to call it, is for closing deals is 40%. If you're closing 40% of the leads you are given, or whatever, right? 40% of the deals that you have an opportunity to make, you are closing. That's just about right. You can kind of tie the pricing in at that point. The pricing that you figured out right there matches where you should be. That 40% marker kind of is across the board. That's where, I mean, this we're talking about a $250 million plus a year company. So you can trust this as like real data. It's driven by data, right? This is real stuff. Raise your prices, because the value that someone is getting out of it will match a certain type of person. It will match a certain personality. It will match a client base that you are wanting. And no, you're not going to close 100% of your deals. If you are, maybe like Dylan thought when he closed the $600 first deal ever, thought, oh my gosh, like that's crazy. Like he's paying me so much, but he jumped at it, right? He's like, that's perfect. That's what we want. That's great when that happens, but there's people that will view that as higher. Anyway, great conversation with Dylan. I'm so glad you guys got to meet him too. He is a phenomenal person. Like I mentioned before, as we were talking to him, all of his information will be below any of these videos. It'll all be linked. Please book him. He is fantastic. He will treat you right. I can fully endorse what he does. And with that, thank you so much for watching Garage Built. My name is Ethan. Again, if you are on audio, consider checking us out on YouTube. You can see our pretty faces. You can see the guests. The thumbnails I try and design so you can really see who they are, which is cool. And obviously you can watch us on video. If you are on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe. Follow us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify Podcasts, and wherever else you find yourself listening. So thank you guys so much. Enjoy your week, and we will see you next time with another great guest who's another close friend of mine who has started the first of this kind of business in the entire nation. Very, very cool. Stay tuned. We'll see you next time.